Have you ever felt it? That strange stirring beneath the surface of your awareness, subtle, almost imperceptible, and yet undeniably real. For the first time in what feels like forever, it doesn't seem like a coincidence. Patterns begin to emerge, little nudges, recurring thoughts that echo louder each time they return. What once felt random now carries weight, shape, meaning, and in those moments of stillness, when the noise of the world fades and distractions fall away, you feel it, right in the center of your chest, a presence, a whisper that doesn't use words. The universe is calling, not with thunder or spectacle, but with the quiet authority of something ancient and deeply true. You are meant to hear this, right now. Everything you've endured, every joy, every heartbreak, has prepared you for this awakening. What once felt unreachable is now within grasp, not because the message has changed, but because you have. Your pain has softened the walls you once built to protect yourself. Your disappointments have stripped away illusions, and in the absence of everything you thought you needed, you arrived here with an open heart. Those painful questions you used to wrestle with, why the silence, why the waiting, why the suffering, are no longer isolated fragments. They are beginning to converge into something higher. The universe was never absent. It was weaving a story far greater than the quick answers you once demanded. You see, delay isn't denial. It's a sacred pause. A pause between the shallow shelter built in a hurry and the deep foundation for something meant to last. Many believe they are ready for what they've been asking for. But the universe, in its infinite wisdom, waits until your spirit is strong enough to carry the blessing without being crushed by it. That delay you wept through, fought against, begged to be lifted, it wasn't punishment. It was redirection. You were never being abandoned. You were being sculpted. The version of you who made the request was not yet the version who could sustain its fulfillment. And so the universe, in mercy, began its hidden work. Quietly, gently, sometimes violently, it let the things you clung to fall apart. It removed the people no longer aligned with your path. It closed doors you were never meant to walk through. And you mourned those endings, not realizing they were beginnings in disguise. Consider this paradox. Your greatest breakthroughs often arrive dressed as breakdowns. What looks like collapse is sometimes just the clearing of ground for a stronger foundation. You asked for clarity, but you got chaos. And yet, when you look back, it was the chaos that birthed the clarity. You lost what you thought you needed, only to discover who you truly are. That's the sacred architecture hidden inside the delay. It doesn't just shift your circumstances, it transforms you. Even when we understand the truth, the waiting can still ache. There are days when you feel invisible, when faith becomes fragile and hope flickers like it's about to disappear. But hold on to this. The universe didn't lead you here just to forget you. The same force that turns seasons, stirs the stars, and spins entire galaxies isn't ignoring your path. You're not a fleeting thought in the mind of creation. You are a deliberate unfolding, guided through a sequence that is far more precise than you realize. Picture your life like the backside of a woven tapestry. From where you are, it might look like chaos, threads crossing, colors clashing, no clear pattern. But turn it over, and a masterpiece appears. That's how the universe sees you right now. And one day, when the timing aligns, you'll see the front too. You'll understand why the red thread of heartbreak had to weave through the gold of joy. Nothing in your life has been random, and nothing has been wasted. So lean into the call, not just to receive, but to trust. This isn't about controlling outcomes or demanding answers on your timeline. It's about surrendering to something larger, deeper, older. The delay you feared is not a lack of movement. It is sacred preparation. You're not stuck. You're being placed with intention. And when everything aligns, you'll look back and see that the waiting wasn't an empty space. It was everything. And now, as that awareness begins to settle into your bones, Something deeper emerges, often overlooked, but always powerful. Silence, not just quietness, but the profound stillness where the universe does its most intricate work. After the collapse of expectations and the noise of unmet desires, you find yourself surrounded by something deeper than words. This isn't punishment, it's invitation. What you once called silence was actually sacred space. Within that space, the universe is not missing, it's refining. Silence is the cradle where your real power wakes up. When external answers fade, the voice within begins to rise. You start to hear your own soul. You begin to tell the difference between what's loud and what's true, between urgency and purpose. Most people run from silence, terrified that it means they've been abandoned. But the wise lean in. They know that in the stillness, roots grow deeper. You haven't been cast aside, you've been strengthened. Think of the tree in winter. No leaves, no fruit, no obvious life. From the outside, it looks bare, but beneath the surface, it's conserving energy, fortifying its inner being, preparing for a season not yet visible. Your life echoes that rhythm. This silence is your winter, and the universe has not withdrawn. It's reinforcing your foundation. What feels like stagnation is actually sacred preservation. There is a sacred wisdom in the silence, one that words can't touch. It doesn't speak through lectures or explanations. Instead, it teaches through presence. It invites patience without ever demanding it. It draws endurance from within you, not by justifying the weight, but by reshaping your relationship with uncertainty itself. The questions you once ran from begin to sit beside you like old companions. The unknown is no longer your enemy. It becomes your teacher. The universe trusts you enough to be silent. Can you trust it enough to stay? Don't rush to complete the lesson. Don't beg for the noise to return. What you are receiving now will serve you when the answers finally arrive. Even the sacred texts of old speak of this holy quiet. Joseph endured years in the darkness of prison before stepping into his calling. Jesus waited days before raising Lazarus, not from indifference, but from divine intention. These delays were never voids. They were sacred strategies. Silence is not the absence of God. It is often His most loving tactic. You are not being overlooked. You are being protected from premature exposure. The pressure to force clarity may be loud, but clarity that is forced rarely runs deep. The universe isn't interested in giving you surface peace. It's building peace into your bones, into the way you breathe, the way you greet the day. That kind of depth can only be forged in silence. And in this space, something else begins to shift. You start to see that not everything needs to be understood right away. Some answers are only revealed when your heart is strong enough to hold them. Faith isn't the absence of confusion. It's the choice to walk forward even when the path isn't lit. To walk by faith is to choose peace over panic, even in the silence, believing that the universe has already gone ahead of you, clearing what you have not yet seen. Let the silence teach you. Let it peel away the false, the fragile, the things that cannot follow you into your next season. There is beauty in realizing you can stand firm even when nothing around you changes. That kind of inner stillness is a rare power, unfaked, unpurchased, and only grown when the noise falls away and your soul finally sharpens into focus. And slowly, without warning, something within you transforms. You stop chasing every sign, stop demanding the next chapter before it's time. You sit in the quiet, and you begin to trust it. Something deep within you softens, not from weakness, but from wisdom. The silence becomes your sanctuary, and in it, you discover something stronger than any answer. You discover presence, purpose, and peace. What once felt like divine distance now reveals itself as sacred closeness. The universe doesn't shout when it speaks to the soul. It doesn't rush. It doesn't fear, and now neither do you. Your strength no longer hinges on outcomes. It flows from the knowing that even in the quiet, you have never been alone. The universe is closer than your breath, and its timing, though mysterious, is always perfect. When silence becomes your sanctuary, something deeper begins to unfold, not as a sudden flash of clarity, but as a quiet awareness that everything is moving, according to a rhythm greater than your own. You no longer merely endure the gap between not yet and finally. You begin to notice the subtle alignment behind the delay, the coordinated dance beneath the chaos. Timing, once seen as an adversary, starts to look like an ally. The more gently you surrender the resistance within, the more clearly you can hear the cadence of the universe. Subtle, deliberate, impossibly precise. What once felt like emptiness reveals itself as emerging order. There's a profound beauty in how the universe moves. It doesn't hurl or panic. It doesn't operate from fear or scarcity. Unlike human urgency, which often stems from insecurity, divine timing flows from deep assurance. The universe isn't trying to impress you with instant answers. It speaks in the language of alignment, placing people, circumstances, and opportunities in exact configuration, not to appease your schedule, but to protect your soul. There is symmetry in its slowness. What feels like delay is often the intricate completion of unseen arrangements that must settle into place before your prayer can be answered with integrity. Think of the Earth's orbit. The sun does not rise a second too soon or set a moment too late. The seasons arrive with intent. Nature never rushes, yet it accomplishes everything. Your life is no less complex. Every moment of waiting is the universe arranging variables on your behalf. While you're praying for change, it's softening the hearts of people you haven't met, closing doors that would harm you, building bridges you don't yet see. Divine timing isn't just about what you receive. It's about when everything is ready to receive you. You may have prayed with passion and perseverance and still faced silence. But that silence isn't rejection. It's preparation. The blessing is being shaped to arrive whole, enduring, and matched to your maturity. Quick answers rarely carry depth. They're often temporary bandages for deeper soul wounds. But answers that arrive in divine time come bearing wisdom, healing, and longevity. They don't just meet a need. They expand who you are. That's the generosity of the universe. It hears not only your words, but the readiness of your spirit. Imagine your life as a grand symphony. Every lesson, every longing, every loss is an instrument in the orchestra. Now imagine what happens when one instrument plays too soon or a note is held too long. The harmony breaks, the beauty fades. Timing in music is everything, and so it is in your life. You may not understand why certain relationships ended, why opportunities slipped away, but the conductor sees what you cannot. To preserve the integrity of the music, he adjusts, and when the time is right, every note, your healing, your breakthrough, your joy, will sound exactly as it was meant to. Not a moment early, not a second late. On beat. Delays often feel like disappointment, especially when you've invested hope. But there's grace hidden in those delays, a grace only visible in hindsight. Many of the things you begged for in past seasons would have done more harm than good. You asked for doors to open, but the universe saw what stood behind them. You pleaded for relationships to stay that were never meant to root into your future. Protection often looks like unanswered prayers. If you only knew the weight those answers would have placed on your unready shoulders, you'd thank the silence for saying, "Not yet." And eventually, clarity begins to take shape, not always through dramatic revelation, but through the peace that comes when the pieces finally fit. you realize that some of your deepest pains were divine redirections in disguise. That job rejection led you to something more fulfilling. That delay gave you time to develop the discipline that now sustains you. The one who walked away created space for someone who truly honors your soul. When divine timing unfolds, it needs no explanation. It reveals its perfection in a way that feels undeniably right. When you begin to live in harmony with the timing of the universe, your relationship with time itself begins to heal. You stop racing towards some invisible finish line. You stop measuring your life against others' highlight reels. You stop labeling every delay as failure and begin to see it as refinement. The pressure lifts. The fear of missing out dissolves. You come to understand what's meant for you cannot pass you by. What aligns with your soul's purpose will not drift from your reach. And when your time comes, it won't feel forced. It will feel like coming home. The beauty of divine timing isn't only in what it brings to you, but in how it transforms you along the way. You're not the same person who first entered this season. You've grown deeper, clearer, steadier. What's coming isn't just an answered prayer. It's a mirror reflecting the strength you've built and the wisdom you've earned. Divine timing doesn't just change your life, it reshapes your soul to sustain it. And as you begin to trust the rhythm of the universe's timing, another revelation unfolds, one that redefines how you see every rise and fall, every gain and loss. You begin to realize your journey is not ruled by chaos, chance, or luck. There is a supreme order, vast, sacred, and deliberate, holding everything together. The universe is not just punctual, it is sovereign. It does not merely respond, it governs. The same force that ensures your timing is perfect is the same force that holds every detail, including the ones that broke you, under divine authority. That realization brings peace, not because your problems disappear, but because you no longer face them believing you're alone in the storm. Sovereignty means there's a purpose greater than your understanding. Even your mistakes aren't strong enough to derail the path the universe has designed for you. You were never dropped here to wander blindly. Your existence is not random. Your path, no matter how winding, is guided. Beneath the surface disorder is a perfect order quietly working on your behalf. Imagine your life as a home under renovation. You may have grown comfortable with its current layout, modest, predictable, manageable. But the universe sees a palace in your potential, and so it begins to tear down walls, expand foundations, build wings you never imagined. At first, the demolition is jarring. You grieve the familiar. But in time, you realize it was never destruction. It was redesign. Surrendering control feels terrifying because it looks like defeat. But in truth, it is a return to alignment. Sovereignty means you no longer need to force outcomes, manipulate, or cling. You can live with open hands, trusting that what is meant for you is already making its way toward you. The sovereignty of the universe guarantees that nothing is wasted. Every tear, every whispered prayer, every silent babble, it all matters. No moment is meaningless under divine orchestration. And this sovereignty is not oppressive. It doesn't demand submission through fear. It invites trust through love. The force guiding your life is not distant or indifferent. It knows your path intimately. It sees what you cannot, believes in your strength before you even recognize it, and when you falter, when you question, it holds you steady. Living in awareness of this supreme order is walking with confidence through uncertainty. It means accepting that your journey may not follow your preference, but it will always follow purpose. Sometimes what looks like rejection is a sacred delay. Sometimes what feels like an ending is the universe closing a chapter that no longer serves who you're becoming. You won't always get an explanation, but you will always be supported, and when you finally step into the vision the universe has been building behind the scenes, every closed door will make perfect sense. So stand tall. The delays that once discouraged you now testify to a higher order at work. The silence that once unsettled you has revealed itself as sacred space. And the path ahead, though uncertain, no longer feels threatening, because now you know you were never walking alone. You never were. The sovereignty of the universe over your journey ensures that nothing is wasted, nothing is in vain, and everything is leading you to the fullness of who you were always meant to become. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. If this message spoke to something deep within you, I invite you to support this channel by subscribing, sharing it with someone who might need it, and leaving your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your reflections. Until next time, take care of your spirit, stay present, and remember, the universe is always working on your behalf. I'll see you in the next video.